All right, hello, and we are live. Welcome to the Survivor Maryland Winner Take All, Episode 6, live after show. I am Anders, your host, your producer, your editor, whatever you want to call me. I'm all of them. With me today, I've got some wonderful guests, and Erin, my wonderful co-host. Erin, how are you feeling tonight? Are you going to marry the Bachelor? Be honest.
I wish I did send out my streak snap was saying that I'm watching the Bachelor finale to the man I should have been marrying, but you know what? I couldn't have Liam from Major Conflict. I can't have Joey, so we'll get there someday.
And I think that's so beautiful and so powerful. Now, I do have to ask, if you were on The Bachelor, what
Yeah.
would your entrance be like?
Oh, such a great question. I think I'd probably step out, maybe just wearing a buff, and then because if he immediately is like, that show's still on, then I'm leaving. You know?
So true. And nothing, just a buff, nothing else.
Yeah, you know me. You only
Joining
see
us,
the top half of me anyway. You don't
That's
know.
mother.
Winnie the Poohing it all night long.
Rawr.
it'll be memorable.
And this
Joining
one
us
looks like
from all the way from Survivor Michigan, Katie, tell us about yourself. Who are you to the people who don't know?
Oh my goodness. Well, if you don't know who I am and you're watching the post-up recap and you're in the College Survivor community, then you're living under a rock. No, I'm just kidding. I am a Survivor Michigan producer, produced seasons 2 through 5, and I played season 6, which just finished airing. So if you haven't seen that, please go check it out. And I'm excited to be here. Honestly, Survivor Maryland is the only other college survivor that I've ever tried to watch. So very exciting to talk about it.
And an important distinction, tried to.
I should clarify, I have not even watched all of Survivor Michigan seasons. I just don't watch College Survivor that often. So
Look, you're here, that's all that matters. And then
Exactly.
Ethan, joining us all the way from Canada. Oh my god, how are you?
Oh my gosh, Toronto's beautiful. No, I'm all the way in DC. Hi everyone, I'm Ethan. I played on Scotty Survivor season 2 at Carnegie Mellon. In Maryland is the first. Wow, you really dropped that.
They were ready.
Also this.
Wow. And I guess this is like the first ever College Survivor I've watched, besides like half of my season.
Period.
Besides
Love it.
half of yours. Wait, is it the Scotty smiling ass Asian? Is that what you called yourself, or did you
No,
call
I did not call myself ass Asian.
It was assassin. He was the smiling assassin.
Okay.
But that is the
Okay, so
funniest
that's just a
typo I've
typo.
ever seen in my life.
That's the fun. That's so funny.
Why couldn't I didn't realize that was a typo at first. I was like, oh damn. I was like, I didn't know if that's what people called me offline.
Well, you know what? What a time to say that for this episode.
True.
So let's talk about
And
it. This episode's a little bit crazy. What are all of your reactions to it?
Oh my gosh. I mean, okay, I'm just like, I binged up until this episode just this past weekend. So I have like fresh opinions of just everyone. First off, obsessed with JS. I know that might be a hot take. He might bother some people, but I'm obsessed. I'm a stan. Also, gotta give props to my fellow Katie. I mean, she's killing it. Let's be honest. But this episode in particular, I mean, I found myself asking multiple times, is this actually working? Is this what people are doing right now? That's where I ended up.
I had such a roller coaster with my star of the episode, who was Eric Eggroll, obviously. Complete star of the episode. And I had such a roller coaster of being like, I like what you're doing. I like this conversation, to being like, this is terrible. You're doing a terrible job. What the fuck are you saying? To being like, oh no, you're picking it back up again. Like, you got it, Eric. And then just like ended on such a high. And I feel like the result of it was, I think, best case scenario for me of things that feasibly could have happened.
An episode where JS is attacked and then Mike goes home. You
I
loved
know.
it.
I know, isn't that crazy for me? So out of character.
Ethan, how did you feel about the episode?
It was so wild because I was like, the second Eric didn't use the mutiny, I was like screaming at my TV. I was like, he needs to go. I was like, he's going home. I was like, there's no way he's getting out of it. And then I see this conversation between him and Katie on, and I'm like, okay, Katie's slain once again. Like her talent's in somebody else. And like Katie on has one fan, it's me. But then I'm just like watching Tribal Council, and then I'm just starting to see like the cogs turn in like Miranda and like Jack's head, and like everyone's starting to believe it, and it's just like I was like, whoa.
So we'll get to the suicide bomber, which is probably the second most insane name for an event in this episode.
I think that made it more believable. The other one made it way more believable.
And you know what? Sometimes things just happen that way. We'll get to it. All right. Let's start at the beginning. So last episode, Eric Winnick went home. Andrew wish he could tell you how it happened, but it happened. We see this episode. Okay, Jess and Andrew were the ones who voted to get rid of Winnick, but clearly no one was really like thrilled with how that vote went, except for Katie, who is absolutely thrilled how that vote went. But we see Andrew here being like, why did we do this? Why did this happen? Why are people flipping? And we have Michaela and Fish going, why did they do this? Why are people flipping? What's going on? Is Sababa a messed up tribe? Like, do we think that it's going to be Return versus Newbies? What do we think is the future of Sababa? Also, we see Jess fully drinking, snow day.
Yes. Okay. I actually had a question about that because what time of year was this filmed? Because I felt like it went from zero snow to like full on snow storm and then just Edward 40 hands. I was like, what's going on?
And so the full transparency here is that conversation was filmed after they had already won a challenge. So the snow was after they had won. But guess what? That scene happens now before. So in the logic of this world, it snowed and then didn't, but it's winter.
That's fair enough. I just meant like what time of year was the season filmed overall?
This was March, I think, at this point.
It snows in March.
Oh, wow.
Well, it did then.
Our favorite duo of Jess and Dylan partying together. We love to see it.
Yeah, that was, I don't know. I feel like, okay, I put in my notes just Katie, iconic. She's sitting there. This went exactly as I planned. And I was like, queen, because everyone else was sitting there like, what just happened? I think, though, with getting that Eric out, it's opened up a little bit more freedom for Sababa to be less newbies versus like I honestly feel like this just put Andrew, this kind of forced Andrew into, all right, I got to work with Katie now. Katie just told me the vote right before Tribal. He was already kind of working with Jess and Morgan, but now Michaela's kind of on the outs. Fish is kind of on the outs. I feel like it has opened it up. There's a little more fluidity. Andrew may feel like he's stuck working with Katie and Morgan and Jess now and against Michaela. I don't know.
I think he was already working with, like, Katie was always somebody he was going to be working with.
Right.
So I think the only reason he flipped is because Katie is the one that's, what I didn't realize was how last minute that vote actually was.
Yeah.
I think that was like something that wasn't as like clear in the last episode. Like I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. Of course it's Winnick. Like that's what's been set up, like whatever. But like that being so last minute really, like, I feel like it really shifted my opinion of like how these newbies are playing. And like not in necessarily a positive way, which I hate to say about my man Andrew, but like
Yeah.
if somebody just comes to you last minute right before Tribal and says it's this person, vote this way, it's like I want to have a conversation first. Like I'm still going into Tribal with my vote that I'm planning on. But I think there were so many great quotes that came out of the top of this episode, like Katie saying, "Yeah, bitch, I just saved your ass." Like, yeah, absolutely. And she's right. Yeah, Katie is a huge baller. She's controlling everything as she deserves to and as she should. And Andrew doing his like damage control with Fish and is like sending paragraphs upon paragraphs and then Fish just being like, all good.
All good.
So funny. So funny.
I think what I was like surprised by, I think the main thing I noted was like the last episode we saw this like girls alliance getting together and being like really strong, and then Michaela being left out was the one that like confused me the most, because I was like, I thought she just voted with the minority on purpose.
That's what I thought. I was hyping her up so much last after show. I was like, great move by Michaela. Like, she stays in good
No,
space.
exactly.
She's like,
And then I
keeps
was like,
herself in the middle. But then now I'm like, damn, they really just hate her, actually.
Well, you gotta view it like this. Like, it was very last minute. They got Jess because Jess was wavering, and then they pulled in Andrew because Katie could just say that to Andrew and he's gonna do it. Michaela wasn't gonna do. Michaela, as she said a billion times last episode, she didn't give a shit about Winnick. She just thought, oh, I should keep the newbies around. She doesn't really care that Winnick went home. It's more just like, I wish I had been a part of this, which fair, but I don't think it's malice from anyone's end. I think it's just like Michaela's not going to flip.
They didn't get to talk to her. Yeah.
What? Yeah, because I was going to ask the conversation between the four of Fish, Michaela, Andrew, and Winnick. How soon was that before Tribal versus like the clip of Katie, Jess, and Morgan in a car? Like Erin said,
it basically went
how last minute it was, but
so I believe the Winnick. So it was Winnick, Jess, Andrew, and Michaela. They came to that consensus. It had to be a few hours before, and then this was like a drive, not to Tribal, but like actually this might have been the drive to Tribal. Like they're basically pushing Jess, and then what actually happens is right at Tribal, Katie and Jess go into a bathroom because they had to go to the bathroom, and Katie's like, "I think we got to vote for Dylan. I think we got to vote. We got to vote out Eric Winnick." And just like, should we? And then they text while in the bathroom, Dylan and Doug, and like, "Oh, should we vote for Winnick?" And Dylan and Doug are like, "Yeah." So then, as they come out and we film the walk in, Katie literally whispers to Andrew,
"Oh my gosh!"
Winnick. So this was done mere moments before. I did not know Winnick would go home. I knew that's what they wanted to do, but
I respect that so much of like filling Andrew in on it too, by like not letting him be on the wrong side of the vote, not having to like necessarily like, you have to explain it to him after, but you don't have to like damage control him after and have voted on different sides, which I think is very, very smart.
I love that Katie is watching this. I really appreciate the
as you should, Katie.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I fully turned around my opinion of Michaela's handling of this with this episode. Like last episode, I was talking her up so much. I was like, yes, queen, like staying in the middle, staying on top of it. I loved her saying about Winnick, though, he played his game and he played it wrong. And I was like, so true.
Period.
But I was like, now she's like saying she doesn't trust Jess and Andrew as much now, which like is fair. Yeah, they just voted differently than you. But like, who are you? So now you're just attaching yourself to Fish? Like, that's not... I don't think that's
alliance with Dylan.
Yeah, and Dylan, I guess, but I'm like, that's not gonna keep you strong. I'm like, stay in the majority, like you have to keep pushing this girls thing if you want to keep yourself safe. You can't if you're gonna mistrust these people, that's fine, but like don't let that leak out into your conversations with them, and make sure that they don't actually feel that.
Yeah.
If you don't get this is a reference to Katie's first season where at the beginning of Alliance, a guy gave her Pokemon games so it could be like, you can trust me because you have leverage.
So wholesome. Did she turn around and vote him out after that?
No, he got out. Well, spoilers. Well, Katie won. Anyways, no, she didn't betray him, but he did get the Pokemon games back. That was confirmed today in the chat.
Yes.
Okay, so we see the newbies are divided, but I think they all generally agree that they don't want to be divided. It's just like they're all wrong. They're just not together. We also see there's a little bit of division occurring in the returners as well. We see Katie sort of pushing this idea with Doug of just like, yeah, isn't it kind of fucked up what Dylan did? Like, and it's like, yeah, maybe think about that. Katie weaseling her way with all the returners.
Mm-hmm. I gotta say, I loved the genuine moment between Katie and Eggroll too. I think, and to me, I reflected on this episode very much like Katie and JS stand out to me as people who are controlling or trying to control the game, but the way that Katie does it, you see in these one-on-one conversations, it looks and sounds so genuine, which I'm sure it is, but it's like that level of personability that you can have makes all the difference versus some of these group convos with JS. And I'm sure we'll get to talking about that later, but I even saw comments in the live chat. It's just so much more forceful. It's so clear that there is a side that he wants there's something that he wants to happen. Whereas Katie's conversations feel so much more like, I'm here to listen to you. What do you want? Let's make sure we're aligned. And it's always sneaking around to aligning with what Katie actually wants herself. And it's just like S tier. It's insane.
I find myself like wanting an alliance with her as an audience member at this point. But I think what's so interesting about her is, like you said, the way she approaches her conversation, and she kind of knows what works with different people. Like, oh, I'm going to be a little silly with Eric, or I'm going to pull on this person's heartstrings. And this is a cast where everything is getting leaked across tribes into one another. But Katie's things aren't getting leaked. Like, she's the one who's getting all of this information. Like Tony leaking the McQuad alliance, I think last.
Katie, do something that we can talk shit about then, because you're just simply perfect.
Sorry,
yeah. But Tony leaking the McQuad alliance was like in my opinion, was such a big blunder. And then her thing with Dylan and Dylan trusting her with the idol. Like, people know people are talking with others, but I feel like she's kind of out of that loop in that sense, where not out of the loop, but there's not as much talk about her.
Yeah.
I think oh, sorry, go ahead, Erin.
Oh, I was gonna say I will have much more to say on how JS handles his conversations this episode later.
We'll get to JS.
But, I wrote down like Katie's 3 strikes with Dylan, which I think were really funny. Like, that's clearly becoming some turmoil within the returnees. And I think obviously the theme of the game when you come in and it's newbies and returnees, there's gonna be some sort of like newbies versus returnees backing of it all, like subtext to the season as a whole. But I do think that on Sababa, that's just simply not what it is. I think that that's always an undertone, and I think that's always something that they want to fall back on, but I genuinely don't think that's the driving factor in any of their games. And like Katie's 3 strikes for Dylan, genuinely, there are 3 bad strikes, and Dylan needs to chill the fuck out. It was the text to Michaela, which obviously huge red flag.
Was brutal. That's a rookie move. Rookie move.
This is such a funny comment that this move, which we all agree is a Survivor Michigan-esque move of texting the person you're talking about what you're saying, and somehow it made his relationship with Michaela good, which is so dumb. Right. And what's so funny about it too is he throws Doug under the bus for no reason. And Michaela's like, I trust Dylan now.
Yeah, she's like, that Dylan's text to me was 100% Doug's fault, obviously. But so that text was a strike with Katie, which makes sense because it's just messy in general, and you don't want to have a messy ally, and also that forced your ally to throw another one of your allies under the bus who you value more. So that's rough. And then there was the paranoia about just getting votes in general, which I think is fair, but if you're comfortable enough in the game and you have enough trust in the people that you're working with, you should be like, put a few votes on me. I don't really care.
Also has the idol.
Has an idol.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like you should be willing to take a couple votes if you're confident in the people that you trust. And so if somebody's sitting there saying like, "Oh, I don't want the other votes on me," that is suspect. I agree with Katie. That's a red flag. And then the third one was sneaky talk at tribal. Sneaky quotations marks, where she said that he leaned back and was like, "It's Winnick behind fucking Fish's back."
That was so unserious.
I understand it more considering this happened last minute and he just wants to kind of confirm. But so here's my question. Who were they voting if not Winnick going into that tribal council?
I don't know.
You don't even know?
I can't I have to imagine they were always going to vote Winnick. I just don't know what the end result would have been. The choices were either going to be vote Winnick or all put it on Dylan. But I don't know, because here's the thing. They thought it was Dylan up until it switched to Doug. And at that point, they were like, what? Why is it on Doug now? So, I look, if I'd come to that urn and I saw all votes for Fish, I would have been like, that's crazy, but sure. They didn't know. I don't know.
Okay, gotcha.
Maybe Katie, do you remember what you were going to do before it settled on Winnick? Because hell if I know. She'll answer. Anyways, continue with your thoughts.
I don't
Okay,
remember.
done.
Erin, did you have more to say there?
The
No, that
returners.
was all I had on that.
So we get Mike and Eric Eggroll, the final Eric. I'm just going to call him Eric now.
Love it.
They have the mutiny. All right, they can go to the other tribe. They come with the returners, except for Morgan, because she's just Morgan has stuff to do. They meet up and they say, "All right, we're thinking of using this mutiny. Let's come together." And Dylan's just like, "No." No. Also, my favorite part of it is Mike is so right with this read, where Dylan's like, "I think you guys just need to talk and get settled and whatnot." And it's like, Dylan,
what do you think we have been doing?
Yeah.
The whole game.
Just do you think?
Yeah, Dylan is watching returnee after returnee go on that tribe, and he's like, "Have you tried just working with them?"
With Kumbaya?
It's giving
no one's serious.
It's giving sports commentators when they're like, okay, they just need to make the ball to the end and score more points. They just need to score more points and they'll do better. No. I think that's what everyone's trying to do, babe.
That was so funny. Yeah, and then Dylan has his confession. He says, I don't want those Majesta returnees. That whole tribe is trash. They suck. They're terrible. It was killing me. I was like, Dylan, honey, you need more friends. You almost just went home.
But he didn't. Didn't get a single vote.
No, I think that is what did it. I think he would have so had a different tune if he would have gotten any votes at that tribal council. I think he would have had such a different tune and been like, yes, come over. I need you, whatever. But because now he's sends a mistext to Michaela and is suddenly in a better position, he's like, actually, I'm a god. I don't need you over here. You're trash.
So true, Eric. I mean, Dylan just knows how to play the game. Maybe if Mike and Eric sent more terrible texts to people, they'd have the majority. Ever think that's why Jack doesn't want to work with you?
Yeah. Told everyone what they were actually planning on doing.
I mean, listen, maybe it would help them because clearly they don't mind having an ally that's an asshole. So, maybe if they just started being dicks, they could, pick up Jack and Miranda.
They're not mean enough for Jack and Miranda. They love mean people. I mean, Katie has a confessional after the challenge, which is you should have, if you wanted to mutiny, you tell us you're mutinying, and then we figure it out. Not, should we mutiny? Because obviously, no. Why would we want? Because as we've said, Sababa is not newbies versus returners. It has that, and it's in underlying, but that's not what's fueling everyone. Suddenly, Eric and Mike come over. It might just be that.
Yeah. And remind me, with the mutiny, it has to be played before a challenge. And the goal is essentially that they would want to join the other tribe before the challenge starts.
So the challenge is explained, and then they can use the mutiny and switch over to the other tribe.
Okay.
Anyone can.
Okay.
Can someone theoretically mutiny, and then could Miranda just play a tribe swap?
No. So the ruling is it's basically one per challenge. But
okay.
They're two separate entities. So it's the tribe swap is not nullified if a mutiny is used, but you cannot use both at the same challenge. So whoever does it is first. So
got it.
If Miranda really wanted to next week, theoretically, if there's a mutiny next week, Eric may not play it next week.
Can't imagine that would happen. Why would Eric want to leave that tribe? That's crazy.
He just needs to talk to them more.
The thing is, if he just talked more and was more honest, I think that's the big issue. He wasn't being honest enough. It's then if Miranda wanted to play her tribe swap, she could do it before Eric plays his mutiny, but that'd be its own little race. But no, the mutiny can be used whenever, and the mutiny does have the stipulation of if you get voted out, you can trade it to someone, or you can literally just hand it to someone on your way out. Because with a tribe swap, it's there's so many different ways it could work out. With a mutiny, you're only ever going to play it to just leave your tribe. And in my mind, I went, if I'm putting this in the game, I want it to be used. Worst case scenario, no one steps forward. So I'm going to keep it alive. Yep, bitch, you're not voting out the person who has it and it's done. It's staying around, all right?
I love it.
Yeah.
This is true. The mutiny can be played and Miranda can just reset the tribes the next week, but that's a full week where something else could happen.
Right.
Yeah. I really hope that tribe goes to tribal council next round.
Also, here's Katie's answer. So the answer is they didn't know what the fuck they were gonna do, but whatever it was, maybe idle out Winnick.
Okay, love
Okay.
it.
Also, this
Yeah.
is a very funny
So that
comment.
does make Dylan leaning back and saying it's Winnick very, very stupid. If that was just kind of the name, if you know that's the name you're writing down, like if he leaned back and said like idol, like should I play the idol? That's one thing. But leaning back and saying it's Winnick, that's fucking stupid. I'm with you, Katie.
Okay, so we also see, we talked a little bit about Katie and Eric, the AA, the Asian Alliance. I mean, it's so funny that this episode just has it all, doesn't it? We got the Asian Alliance started here. I think it is a very funny duo as well. Also with Katie being like, "Am I closer to you than Mike?" And Eric's like, "No." But
No, that killed me. I was like, okay, valid though. I
Yeah.
honestly feel like that's fair. They're all returnees. Like at a certain point, there's a level of bullshit that is just not necessary. I think with the returnees in particular, and I think that was one of those moments where he was just like, "Listen, like you're not on my tribe right now. I'm still gonna be with this guy real quick." But I liked, it goes back to what I was saying about Katie's ability to just like level with someone one-on-one super easily. And I think she did that beautifully.
I mean, yeah, I think if he had said, yes, you are above Mike after this is like their first conversation and he's been on a tribe with Mike the entire game, I think that that's just like, why would you say yes to that? Like, that's clearly not true.
Look, you can talk shit about it. Look, they did go. He did go to her show, and he did do Smack That. So.
I loved that. I
wish
loved
there was
hearing
video
about
of
that. I
that.
was like, that is so college.
You don't think I wish there was footage of that? When Katie told me this, I went, "Please tell me it's filmed." She's like, "No," and it's just like,
He
what
should
the
have
fuck?
refilmed it.
For real.
Eric,
I
if you're
don't think-
watching this, we're still waiting. The blooper reel.
But truly incredible. I mean, they're not even on the same tribe, and here he is supporting her. Eric sees a queen, and he supports her.
And as he should.
Yes.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a little bit about Eric's relationships in the pre-challenge part of it. We've got the Jack and Eric breakup scene after we hear Jack before they vote out Faith. Like, I really don't want to hurt my relationship with Eric. And here we go. We see Eric go, "Why the fuck are you lying to me? I don't want to work with you anymore. What is wrong with you?" And I've got to say, Jack is a very bad actress. No offense. Terrible actress.
She was like my winner pick episode 1, but every time I see her lie, I always like cringe a little bit. And I feel like she's kind of just like learning how to lie a little bit more. When she was like, "This is my mistake," I was like, oh, we like turned from reality show to like soap opera here. But I also felt like Eric's, like the way he came up. I mean, Eric is very no bullshit. But if Jack is someone who has the power, I was wondering why he wasn't more like, "I'm just hurt. Like, I really wish you had told me," and just like played that up more and made her feel worse rather than being like, "Rah!" Like, granted, he did come back later, and like the star of this episode for me is like Jack's roommate who came and was like, "Oh, I'm so invested." But yeah.
No, Ethan, I was thinking the same exact thing. Why Eric was going at Jack so hard all of a sudden when he was just left out of a vote. Like, clearly she has the numbers, she has the power. Why? Like, and I mean, it somehow worked out in his favor, but I'm not sure if that was the best play in that moment, to be saying, "I do not want to work with you at all," after it's clear they have the numbers.
Yeah, I have a very unpopular opinion on this. I loved that conversation. That was genuinely like that was one of my like Eric is like going over a hill on the roller coaster. That was a high point for me, truthfully. I don't love that he ended it like with a shut door, but like that conversation in general, I'm like, yes, like no bullshit. Like he literally said, "Don't bullshit me," and like he was just simply being straight up with her. He was like, "This is where my game is at. This is how you have hurt me. Like, this is how I'm feeling. This is what I have done and like what you have done to me in this game. And this is why it fucking sucks." And like he told her straight up, he was like, "I would rather not work with JS." And I was like, "King, absolutely correct take." But like when you get burned by somebody that you feel like you're actually working with, And then there's this other like you do kind of feel like you almost have a more open door because like your relationship with JS, you weren't expecting him to vote with you. You weren't relying on him for anything. Like you just voted for him. So like going to that and being and like especially after JS went up and like damage controlled with Mike and Egg Roll after the faith vote, like it's like, yeah, that feels like more of an open door than Jack who's saying, I'm gonna vote with you. We're gonna vote out JS and then not following through on that. So
But
I fully see where he's coming from with that. And I just I loved how real he was being and being like, this is what happened, this is how you hurt me, and this is how I'm feeling right now. Like I loved every minute of it, honestly.
I also think to your point, Ethan, about like, oh, well, you're in the minority. Like, don't you want to get her on your side? It's like that's kind of what he was doing still. Like he went, look, with me and Mike, you had a future, and now it's like you did hurt that part. I'm hurt by it. Where it's like he is trying to, because he does not know how tight the four and Sam are. So to him, it is like Jack and Miranda as a duo flipped. So it's like, okay, I'm going to tell you, like, you made the wrong move because me and Mike wanted to take both of you to the merge. We wanted to go far in the game with you. Do you have that same deal with JS and Tony? She does, but he doesn't know that for sure. Yeah. I mean, by the end of this episode, he is by in no uncertain terms, so confident of where they stand. But it's like, he was doing it. He was also just like, I can't believe she is still lying to me about like, it was just so last minute. Like, no, it wasn't. The Winnick vote is last minute. The faith vote was 2 weeks earlier.
Yeah. 2 quits earlier. Yeah.
No, that is fair. And I think to all of those points as well, it is going to someone and being that upset about something really does demonstrate how much they put faith and trust into
and she's gone.
Jack. And I think exactly what you're saying, Anders, like kind of sways Jack and shows her that like, oh, you really did want to work with us. Okay. So it's definitely entertaining.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and then Eric went right into it downhill from me when he immediately showed JS the mutiny, and I was like, "You are a fucking moron! Actually, so stupid."
Okay, but I feel like at that point he's also just trying anything to save his ass. No,
if he's okay, but if he's gonna save his ass, then simply play the mutiny.
I mean, but this is
after
he missed the chance. I mean, that's
no,
fair.
that was before. He showed him before the challenge.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Here's the question, and I think this is where Eric's decision has to come in. He went to the returners, the people he was going to flip to, and was like, should we flip? And they were very negative to it. Like, he has Katie, but the rest were not responding well. If he goes over there, they could
All he needs is Katie. The rest.
But he doesn't know that for sure. But like it could be they could be fully rejected and be in an even worse spot because they don't know anyone over there. They're easy pickings. Meanwhile, on Majesta, yes, it is JS and Tony, but they can, like you mentioned earlier, there's no reason JS needed to come up to them, but he did. There's that outside chance. It's like work with the devil you know or don't. And they said maybe if we don't use it, we're showing we have trust. What they didn't know is that JS was like, oh, okay, you're gone. Also, I will say this. I fully did expect them to play the mutiny. So I was like giving them ample time. I was like, today's the day. And then when Eric didn't, I was like, huh? Why wouldn't they play the mutiny? Yeah. It seems so obvious. But I think it's like, there's no right answer. I feel like they were both wrong answers for Eric and Mike. But he didn't play it. And Majesta lost.
I think he has to think so selfishly in that moment. Like, if he's built up this good relationship with Katie, then, like, that's what you need to ride with. That's your actual closest ally because Mike is a fucking moron who has terrible reads. Like, maybe go get yourself a good ally.
Mike is a very loyal ally.
Okay, but Erin, are you saying he needs to play selfishly and play the mutiny then? Because if he's playing the mutiny, Mike's following him.
Right. And so Mike goes home. That's great because Eric's protected by Katie.
Okay.
But he is more likely to go home on the other side.
I don't know
Exactly,
if
Matthew.
I don't know if I'd say they're all on the same level. I think not playing the mutiny is a misplay, but it's not like playing the mutiny would have given Eric and Mike the game. This was a very bad move and the game-ending move for Mike. But like,
I wonder too, though, if Eric, and I mean, Eric is obviously watching, so feel free to give your opinion, but he could also have been playing selfishly and knowing that if he didn't play it, in thinking that he built trust with JS or whoever, that he's built up more relationships than Mike has.
I think he felt that way, like maybe with Jack, whose relationship he just destroyed.
Right. He should have just played it.
Yeah.
Just played it.
Because Mike and JS had this pre-existing relationship, so I don't think in Eric's mind he's ever gonna, like, you know, think that he's better off.
This is what JS is claiming. I don't know if I fully agree that would have happened. I know they definitely discussed it, but I don't know if in the moment they would have done that. It was known that if they all stepped forward, it would have then been a random swap. But again, I'll say this: McQuad has so much footage of just making 100 plans. So what would they have done? And yeah, this is.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying, Eric, is like it shouldn't have been a we because you were getting voted off on Majesta, but Mike probably would have been voted off on Sababa.
You cannot have Eric go against Mike here. Mike is the only person who is loyal to Eric and is the only one who will fight with him. Like but
he could have jumped over and had Katie in that position too. That's what I'm saying.
He would have left Mike alone.
Good.
Yeah, Mike. Okay, your hatred for Mike doesn't change the fact that Eric doesn't hate him. Okay, let's talk about it. The challenge ends. And we find out Sam got a game changer. All right, Queen Sam.
Queen.
All right.
She
got a game changer. What was it called again, Anders?
Oh, who can even remember? So the game changer is called the Black Vote. It could have been called like the Ghost Vote or something. What was it called in Michigan?
The Right of Revenge.
Oh, that sucks. That's worse.
I like it.
Worse than the Black Vote?
What's wrong with the Black Vote? Wow, and you're the villain now. You're the villain. Look, what I'm saying is that I think it's so perfect Sam got this advantage. It's very funny she got it, and I'm glad she did. I think it's also so funny. In the same episode, we get introduced to this advantage that when you're voted out, you can give a vote to someone. We get a fake advantage that is nearly identical, but way more extreme. Revenge Vote would probably be a better name for it. But it's not called that. It's called the Black Vote.
Oh, so Revenge Vote is fine, but Right of Revenge sucks?
Right of Revenge.
Okay.
Look, she has it. All right. You all look at Sam and you go, she's not playing the game. Little did you know, she has an advantage.
No, it's so funny to me though that like there is this whole narrative that Sam's not really playing, and it's like her lack of confessionals and agency backs that up. But now she does have this advantage, but but JS takes all the credit for her getting it. He's like, I whispered to her, check the egg carton for advantages, as if she wasn't gonna open the egg carton anyway and see the fucking advantage. He's like, I told her to open the egg carton. I'm such a genius.
Like she quite literally part of her role in the challenge was to open the egg carton.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah.
What a slay.
Well, and she made a final 2 with JS, so she's playing the game, all right? You're just not seeing it.
Absolutely.
Or Erin just doesn't like it.
I feel like I'm invested in Sam's story. Like, I kind of want to see, like, because she came and be like, I don't know anything about this game. And, like, I like the players who have to kind of learn throughout. And I feel like at the beginning, those are usually the types who people are like, oh, like, I want to take you out. Like, they're the easy ones to go off for the tribe. But I do really like that JS is like, this is kind of a great opportunity for me. Like, I think I marked that as, like, my favorite subtle move of, like, kind of this episode. Though I didn't like kind of a tribal council when Eric was like, yeah, JS had told us that Sam's just in like the back pocket, because I was like, oh, I thought it was like a secret relationship. But in my like ideal world, Eric mutinies, Majesta goes to tribal, and then Sam hopefully has all the power to vote somebody out from the quad, and that's what I want.
God, I would love that.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited to see what she does and kind of how she progresses and navigates through this game. Like I really want her to do well.
I also really appreciate, like Ethan said, players who don't know a lot and are kind of learning as they go. I think it brings a fresh perspective on some of the game. Like I think a couple episodes earlier, it might have been the first couple, whoever was meeting with Sam, and they were like, I thought we were gonna like sit down and have a
Eric.
chat, but no, she just told her friend to wait outside. We chatted in the stairwell for 15 minutes. And I was like, the number of times I wish my conversations just went 15 minutes long in playing the game and didn't have to bullshit or anything. Like, iconic. That, like, if you can expect that from her as a player, I mean, like Ethan said, JS is definitely using that to his advantage, and like that's something you can work with. If anything, that's an asset to our allies for sure.
Yeah, and Sam, was a name on everyone's mouth for the first couple episodes, and since then, she's been safe. They've been going to tribal basically every episode. Although they love to argue, it's only been one more time. It feels like 100. She hasn't been targeted since Meisner quit. Since the second quit, she's been safe. So someone to watch, and now she's got an advantage, an aptly named advantage.
I think it only works because Sam has it, honestly.
Well, you know what? Look, if I could go back in time, I'd change the name, but I can't, and it is what it is. It's still, you know what? I guess it might be the worst this episode, but Suicide Bomber is still such an insane name for an advantage.
I did write that. It's funny because I didn't actually write Black Vote down. I just wrote Emily B advantage from season 5. But I did write
I saw this comment
Suicide
and
Bomber.
all I could think was, who's Emily B? Oh, the most
Yeah.
important character from that season? Yes. The winner? Great comment. Truly,
Real.
king and queen.
So real. Stars of the season.
All right,
Breakouts.
so we have this new majority of JS, Tony, Mike, and Eric, where Eric and Mike are both like, oh god, this can't be real. But they're like, but why would they be wasting so much time with us? Like, we have nothing. Why would they just be sitting around lying to us? And then we get JS and Tony both going, we're gonna waste their time. I mean, do you guys think that let's say you're in the position of McQuad and you can't vote out JS, all right? I'm not allowing you to make that decision. Do you meet with Eric and Mike, or do you just go like, look, it's one of you two. Bye.
If you tell me I can't vote JS, I'm quitting, personally.
Okay, Meisner.
Are you saying meeting with them as the 4 or like one-on-one?
You're in this trio, or you're in this quad that is the majority of the tribe. Like, you can get rid of one of those two. Do you still meet with them, or do you say like it's going to be one of you two?
I'd still meet with them. I mean, I'm the type of player where I want to hear all possibilities and consider every single avenue. Whether I'm going into that conversation or leaving those conversations, like, okay, my mind has not changed. This just confirmed for me that I don't care to keep these people in the game. Sure. But at least I've like taken the time to confirm on that decision, I guess, rather than blindly following the majority.
Absolutely. I rather have people think I'm their best option than not an option at all.
Yeah.
I would say meet with them, yes. Make an alliance with them, no. Not if I don't plan on like following through with that. Like, that's where I think it bleeds into like unnecessary and rude, frankly, of like, especially if you don't think that they have anything. Like, JS even at Tribal was like, Sababa has our idol. Like, it's like, okay, if you genuinely believe that and you genuinely don't believe that you're like people that you're voting out don't have an idol and don't have anything, then why are you doing this? Like, you're just doing it just to do it, and it's unnecessary and rude.
Does Majesta have an idol, or is it just one idol for the pre-merge?
It was just one idol for the pre-merge because there's so many little advantages that were put out. Yeah. Not all of them are found, not all of them are important, but there were a bunch put out. And my thought was 2 idols on top of all of this, on top of like advantages, disadvantages, swaps. Like, at a certain point, you got to let the game be the game. I'm not making that comment towards anything in general, like in specific. All right, sometimes, it's just let the players play. And I think that idols are great, but a reliance on them makes it a very boring season. So yeah, my thought was just one idol. And Dylan found that immediately. So
and Winnick, it was their idol. Remember?
You're right. Oh, their hands touched. It was their meet cute. I want to see that. I want to see a meet cute where they both find a hidden immunity idol.
Your hands touch over the idol. So cute.
And they play it on each other. That would have been such a beautiful end to their story. Instead of, I'm going to vote out Winnick, and Winnick goes, I don't want Dylan to go home. He has
Can't vote out
idol.
Dylan. We share an idol.
That was actually one of the wildest things I've ever heard. Like,
you just don't understand.
Share an idol? Who has it in possession right now, babe? Not you.
He only has it because technically Dylan touched it first.
Technically it's Dylan's, but it's their idol.
Okay, so we also see that Eric and Mike are like, all right, let's also talk to Miranda and Jack. Like, let's see if something can come up this. Which we get a scene, yes, with the roommate in the back of Jack's room going, no, what's this going on? But I feel so bad for Eric in that moment of like, hey, Jack, I know I said we shouldn't work together, but I really feel like I've been a dick to you.
He literally has to grovel in front of this stranger. And you can tell because he's doing the voiceover behind. He's like, I feel awkward having to do this. And right as he's saying that, you see the roommate like grinning, like just holding back laughter. Because you just know in her head, she's thinking, who is this fool? What is he doing?
Somebody had to give that girl a fork because she was eating that up, honestly.
I'm gonna use that quote.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's just so like it's also like, all right, you are with your roommate. You know, they're playing a game. Someone's coming to your room. They're filming it as they're apologizing. It's just like, what is this?
So funny.
Yeah, I wish you like looked at the camera and it was a little like fourth dimension.
Oh my gosh, a little like Jim from The Office moment, like looking right at the camera, like.
Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, Eric, as you should have. I did right. Yeah. I was like, Jack's roommate eating up Eric's apology, and so am I. I'm glad he's coming to his senses.
Yeah, I think she accepted it more than Jack did.
I think she did. Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like, yeah, Eric.
I want a cutaway of the roommate telling Jack, "You got to forgive this guy.
Yeah.
You got to."
Eric leaves the room, and Jack is like, "I'm not so sure." And the roommate's like, "Come on, that was." So
I really
good.
feel like. I'm sorry. I think that her roommate was probably like, that guy was fucking weird. I don't think you need to work with him. Like, I'm glad you all felt like, oh yeah, she was really supportive. I do not think that roommate was supportive. I think she was thinking it was ridiculous. Like, what is this?
There was a part of me that was also wondering if she was even aware that they were going to be recording and that she would be in frame at any point during.
She did not sign a release. All right, if Jack's roommate comes to this and is like, I don't want to be in this.
Anders, what the fuck?
No.
The re-release of that.
Are you kidding me? That facial expression?
No, I know. It was so funny. She was so thrilled.
Let's talk about the big move. I'll say this. JS trying to pull off this move, like Tony said, there's really no downside to it. It's insane, and I don't know why you would do it. But him going, I wish I did have the footage of them literally asking this, because I can only imagine the reaction.
Oh, sorry.
You can't see that.
It was her. Never mind.
But the way that it's like, all right, if you give me your mutiny, your only source of safety, I'll vote with you.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the Survivor like zoomies right there of like trying to be like what Natalie did in the Micronesia and all, and like Shad and those characters, and it was giving too much. And like the four-part alliance to me is so interesting because I've never seen, or at least I haven't seen an alliance that is so forthcoming with each other with all these big and grand ideas that clearly prove how much of a threat they are. Because I feel like every time I watch them, and I feel like if I was sitting there, I'd be like, red flag, red flag. If they're going to do this to others, they could do this to me. So like that alliance, the way they tick is it's so entertaining. I guess I detracted from what the original point is, but yeah, I thought it was wild. But I mean, if that you ever go all out.
I mean, you bring up a good point. This alliance is very forthcoming. You have JS earlier being like, let's throw the challenge. And they're all like, no, we want a Sababa out.
Oh, actually, let's stop on that for a second, because the way JS, again, I stand by, I'm a fan. But for entertainment purposes, because the man sat there and was like, they weirdly didn't want to throw a challenge. And I'm like, sir, I don't think that's a weird thing. That's not weird at all, actually.
What really grinded my gears this episode.
The one thing you didn't like about JS this episode.
So every fucking McQuad conversation was JS coming to McQuad with this harebrained scheme, being like, this is what we should do. All of McQuad being like, that's ridiculous. You're insane. Going to their confessionals being like, JS is insane, and still working with him. Like, you're clearly fucking over him. Jack and Miranda are clearly so over him. Like, and that's so clear in every confessional, in every meeting where they're disagreeing with everything he says. So just leave him. Like, you're in a toxic relationship, girly. Get out of there. It's so upsetting to watch. Like, I'm like you are clearly upset about what's happening here. When you could have, like, you have Eric coming to you begging to be a good ally. And I'm
Lee, I swear to God. Lee and I will take that offline later. Erin, I agree. And I think I definitely thought this was going to be a JS vote out for a solid amount of time, because I thought it was pushing too hard. Like I was saying earlier, the level of assertiveness when it came to Jay's big ideas, and especially the move of trying to get the mutiny. I think it was specifically, he said, he gives me the mutiny. And I was like, whoa. Maybe like throw out the idea he gives one of us the mutiny rather than just me. And it's like little things like that it's like, okay, this man is clearly like playing the selfish game. And I don't know with McQuad if it's just like they're comfortable with the numbers they have and they're just waiting for a swap. But I was like, what are people thinking here?
Every explanation he gave too was like, yeah, this benefits me. This is helpful for me. Like, none of it was like, this is good for our alliance. This is good for us. It was all just like, yeah, this is why I think it's a good idea for me. And everybody was just like, no, and even in their confessionals, we're like, that's not good for us. If you're playing for us as a collective, then you don't want to do these things. So they know he's not doing that. So like, do something about it. And it was so frustrating. And when like Miranda and Jack are like, oh, should we flip our votes? And then their flip is just to Mike. I'm like, how about you actually do something? So stupid.
It's very different personalities in that alliance. It's so interesting to see, like, watch them like function. And like the way JS is doing the most is like, I feel like it helps Tony a lot. Like I wrote, I think, silent slaughter, as I think one UK politician once said. But I thought I think like he's in such a good position, though. I do think like the biggest qualm to his game could be Katie on, but we'll see.
Mistress of Murder and Duchess of Deception.
Absolutely.
Look, JS is certainly the biggest talker in his alliance. And like, the thing is, I do think had there been I know it's shocking. Had there not been returners versus newbies, there's more movement. But they all agree they want the returners out. So I think that's what's keeping them together. At the end of the day, they want a returner out more than they want JS out.
And that's so dumb. Yeah. Like then you're just not playing the game that's in front of you. I think that's like, if you're playing the game that's from week 1 in week 6, that is so poor. That is such poor gameplay.
I think there's something to be said though for the fact that JS is clearly a shield for them, and they know. I mean, Tony knows that Katie doesn't really like JS. And I mean, there is that cross-tribe alliance communication that like Ethan was just saying, like definitely staying silent for a little bit is going to benefit them getting to a swap, getting to the merge probably. If they keep on JS's good side, because he clearly is the chaotic one.
And I don't disagree with that, because like, yeah, obviously he is playing a good game for his tribe and for the 5 people that trust him, for other people other than him that trust him. But outside of that, he is making himself look terrible to the entire other tribe. He made one friend on the other tribe and they immediately got voted out. So like,
friend is a strong word.
Yeah. Well, the dumbest player in the game, let's be clear. Let's be clear about that.
But was he wrong?
I mean, not using the mutiny might have made him wrong, but
So, okay, we have JS make this pitch, this not ultimatum, this option
right.
to Eric and Mike.
Eric at Tribal was so good. Oh
I
my
mean,
god.
they're so right to be like, what the fuck? What do you just what's so funny is they go to Tribal and JS is making this big speech. I love McQuad, if one thing, they are committed to keeping up a ruse at a Tribal where it's only them. Like, they love to be like, it's not a majority. And it's like, everyone knows. Why are you lying? And just being like, it's a pairs game. And just being Eric and Mike are just like, no, it's not. It's one of us.
Hey,
Eric
I mean,
and Mike,
like JS said, he's on the show to be extra.
Oh, he's delivering. Like,
literally, that little quote just made it for me. He's
stop
like,
being extra, JS.
stop being
No,
extra.
that's why I'm on the show.
That's why I'm on the show.
the last 2 episodes,
least-
I wrote like my recency bias. I just wrote Banu because I've just like never seen someone so destructive at Tribal. Like, I was like, this is so chaotic.
JS, no. JS tries much less and it's way more game focused.
Oh no, absolutely. I don't think like I think it's just like the idea of being destructive at Tribal.
Oh, I like them
Potion.
about the same, if I'm being honest.
No, Aaron. I'll also point out JS has had less confessionals in 6 episodes than Banu had in 3, 4.
That's so real.
So look, I'll accept JS as a lot of things. Banu, absolutely not. I'm sorry. That is recency bias.
It's just how he acts at Tribal Council. I like JS.
Let's talk about the Tribal Council. Let's talk about the suicide bomber. I also want to point out, this is so funny to me and just me alone. Mike's Jersey accent will absolutely come out when he's fighting with someone. He's like, he showed he's closer to me than you guys. He literally was like, "You."
That's iconic.
I wish you could play a clip of it.
That's so
Well,
funny.
I don't. But he does have a very Jersey accent during it. God,
I did write Mike with an actual good take at this Tribal. Wild.
What was the take?
I think it was. I didn't write that part down. I was just too shocked at what happened.
I think the quote he says is, "He showed he was more loyal to me than you guys."
I think that was probably it. Yeah, I don't know. I think he was just actually making sense and saying like it's actually we are on the bottom and you guys are clearly an alliance. And like he was actually finally not being like maybe JS will work with me.
He at Tribal tells Eric, "No, we're good."
Right, exactly. I was half expecting that.
But what was everyone's reaction to the fight and then the eventual suicide bomber, which Eric came up with himself?
Eric ate it up. That was my thought.
Honestly,
Eric ate.
I mean, this was the part where I was like, how is this actually working? Like, I saw Miranda's face, Jackson, like everyone's so shocked. But I was like, guy, like, come on, 2 people just taken out of nowhere. Like, I don't know. It almost felt too extreme to be believable. And actually, the part that made it so clear to me that it's like, this is like red flag number 1, why it should be fake. JS asks to read it himself, and Eric's just like, no.
What's so funny to me is Eric easily, like, he clearly didn't want to show it because he didn't want to show off the logo that he wasn't proud of, I guess. But, like, just rip it a little bit. Nobody's going to be, like, I feel like everybody would be like, oh, yeah, just ripped in your bag.
Like, it's like,
just
crinkle it.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But I think it clearly served its purpose and did its job. But, and I don't think it's like an amazingly unrealistic advantage to throw in there either. Yeah, exactly, because it's exactly like a drag in Sequester, which I think like I don't know what the time frame of this was.
This
if
is
that
before
was timely.
Sequester.
Okay, well, so you just did it first, but that is what made it more believable to me because I know of Sequester, so I would be like, okay, that makes sense. It's just a drag, but that I guess not having a precedent for that might have made it a little more sus.
I will point this out also, like the logo being a big thing. For me, I said if you want to make a fake game changer, you can. You just cannot use the logo because that is the one identifying factor that would make it real. And otherwise, it's just a piece of paper. You have access to printers and Photoshop and whatnot. If you can just take my logo and use it, you can make 1 million of these. So the stipulation for anyone who wanted to make one, and I didn't advertise it. It's just if someone told me they had a fake one, I'd be like, okay, well, it has to be fake. Like it has to have a fake logo. You can make it similar, but not the same. Because in the real show, in the CBS show, this is real. These are real people. This really happened. In the CBS show, when they make fake idols or whatnot, they have to do it on the island. People can see them. When you're at a college, everyone has access to printers. Everyone can just get a little stupid turtle necklace or whatever and say it's an idol. That's fine. Which is why we have safeguards. Like if you ask me, is this real? I'll tell you, no, it's not. Because otherwise, it's too easy to cheat. So that's why he kept being like, this logo's really bad, because it had to be.
It seemed like Katie didn't think it was that bad, though. Like when he showed her.
I mean,
but maybe she was just being nice.
JS had also seen the real logos before, and so had Eric, because they had both found game changers. As Katie said, she wished she could have found a game changer.
Yeah, I guess it worked on her as well.
Queen.
But the suicide bomber, he announces it. They're all believing it, and they vote out Mike. Rest in peace, King. My favorite part of the tribal is too when Jazz keeps offering options, and Eric's like, "How about I offer you the realization that none of this has made me want to work with you, and I want you out." And it's like, you're right, Eric.
I loved that. Eric just pulling that away. Like JS continually saying every time Eric came at him, he was like, I'm not trying to control anything. Like, I'm not blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you are so clearly doing the antithesis of every single thing that you're saying right now. Like, what do you mean you're not trying to control everything? You literally tried to get him to give you his mutiny. You are literally trying to sit here and say, like, oh, I'll flip with you if you like blah, blah, blah. It's like, you are literally putting yourself in that position and then saying, like, I'm not doing what you're saying that I'm doing and what I'm actually doing, actually.
Bullying?
No. I said controlling.
Oh, controlling.
That was such a good break to like the
tension. That was good. Yeah, just wild. I mean, Anders, did you get any sense, or after the fact, I guess maybe this will be in the next episode, of if anyone genuinely believes that was real? And also, why did he reveal that it was fake immediately after?
Because because they voted out Mike, so he thought they already knew it was all fake.
I think that's so. Because why would he not just save it for himself? Because it's like that could have been something that's like, okay, yeah, why would I give this to Mike? Why would I give this to anybody except me? Like until I'm voted out.
He literally thought because they voted out Mike, they knew it wasn't real.
Yeah.
So he just admitted it, and then was shocked. He said earlier he didn't think he had the ability to bullshit people, so he was shocked when they believed it. And then, so the real vote, I took out all their actual talk about this because their plan was to split. It was girls vote, Mike, boys vote, Eric. And so the only one who really did flip was Tony. But they considered it. They considered a moment voting for JS.
What was the purpose?
So that was what they were considering when they said, what if we flip? They were thinking about flipping on JS.
I think it's possible. I mean, Miranda was even considering it.
Yeah, she was.
She
said that in her voting confessional.
But they split because of an idol. Like even if they were positive someone had an idol on the other tribe, you have the numbers. You should split. JS said there's no reason not to split earlier.
Yeah.
Like you have 5, they have 2. You really don't want to get idled out. And the irony is because of that flip, if Mike had an idol, JS would have gone home.
Yeah.
So almost didn't work.
I gotta say though, kind of a disappointing vote given all the heat at Tribal. I was really feeling like between Eric and JS, and then it was just like, oh, Mike? Okay, well. And I mean, hey, at least we get Eric and JS for another episode. That's fabulous.
Well, now let's get to that question. Mutiny?
Yeah, you couldn't tell what like the central theme of the next episode was going to be based on the next time on. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, the promo really confused me.
Also, Miranda did seem...
Yes to that comment.
So true, some guy.
Like, they're like fake fight or whatever. I was like, how fake was that really?
Yeah, and Miranda
said how fake was that?
Real feelings
yeah,
there.
I wrote it down. I was like, Miranda said, "Will you shut up?" And I was like, that's so real. Like
to herself, not to him.
Right. And that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. But that's also what I'm saying is like they have been that's been building up. Them being fed up and sick of him has been building up. They're just not fucking doing anything about it. So I'm like, what is the breaking point? What is the boiling point here? Does that exist, or are you just gonna keep sitting here and letting this happen to you?
I hope it's next episode. I hope they break up next episode.
So mutiny. Do we think number one? Do we think the mutiny is getting played next episode?
Can't imagine it
hard
does.
I
one.
swear to God, Anders, if it's not and you did that, that's just rude.
Oh my
That
god.
would be so funny if he's just like, I'm not playing the mutiny.
Like if every clip of them saying mutiny was them actually talking about how they weren't gonna play it, but you just clipped all of those together.
That'd be so silly.
That would be funny.
I was like, I don't know. I guess they'll talk about the mutiny. So I guess there's probably going to be a mutiny next episode. Let's talk about it. What's going to happen?
So I see Matthew said if Eric mutinies, the rest of his tribe probably follows, I assume. But so do they know that if that happens that it's a random swap?
Okay, let's see. I would have probably only given that information to Eric because he had the swap.
Okay,
If someone asks how an
interesting.
advantage works, it's only if they have the advantage. Like,
Right.
Faith is the only one who can ask about that swap advantage, like when she called me because she had it.
Mhm.
Same with idols and whatnot.
Right.
So look, going back in my mind so long ago, did Eric tell them that thing?
Mhm.
I don't know. Possibly. I don't know if
Okay.
they know that.
Because I think that is what hinges it for me is like if they know that them all stepping off would make it a random swap, I don't think that they would do that because then they're going to split themselves up. Like JS is just pretty much fucked because he's made no friends outside of, McQuad and Sam. So I think that if they know that it would become a random swap, why would they all step off when they could instead just like I mean, I know they don't want to go at each other, but like why not just like I feel like the girls and Tony would just be like, "Okay, let's just vote off Sam." Like why is that such a big deal?
Well, they also, I think an important point is they said in this episode and they've said before, they're talking about swapping, like using their swap, they get to choose the tribes after they lose another time. So why
Which is
put
also
that-
dumb in my opinion, but
Well, you got the advantage. You might as well use it.
not if you don't need it.
They could always do a tribe swap instead of a mutiny, which again would make that preview very funny. Mutiny. I'm playing a tribe swap.
I will say, because I know Katie was commenting like, feel free to shit on her game. It's making me nervous that she's doing so well this early on. It's making me nervous.
I feel the same way.
I don't know if being in with all of these people is gonna benefit or turn on her at some point because from episode 1, everyone's been saying can't let Katie get to the merge. Can't let her go too far. All of this stuff. And I just wonder if maybe JS is just this big distraction and Katie's gonna fly under the radar a little bit, or if people are still keeping that back of mind.
I think what's also important is you do have people like it was said last episode. Andrew and Michaela are both like, if there's one returner we do want to take to the merge, it's Katie because she'll never win again. Which
That's
were
fair.
they saying that to be honest, or were they saying that so when it doesn't target Katie?
I think regardless, I see what you're saying, and like yeah, she is doing so well so early, and like that definitely could come back to bite her. But I think what she's been doing is building up such strong defenses for herself. Like she's got people that are actively looking out for her. She's got people that are gonna flip at a moment's notice, flip their vote at a moment's notice because she says that this is what's happening, and they trust that. So I'm like, when you have such strong walls of defense, and now you're building those from the other tribe too, like now you've got Eric, now you've got Andrew, now you've got Dylan who's going to vouch for you even if you're not going to vouch for him. But you've got Doug, you've got Morgan, you've got Jess, you've got Michaela. Like you've got so many defenses of people that are just simply not going to let it be you. And that is all that you need at this moment in time.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
don't
what I'm
think-
saying is like at some point, is it going to be like, okay, we could let it be her now?
Like, will it be risky? Like, will her, I guess, backups talk to each other and figure it out?
I just don't see it
Yeah.
happening anytime soon, if I'm being honest.
I don't see it
because
happening soon.
I think that
Like,
I
No.
think that the result of any sort of conversation between like say Andrew and Doug, who were both saying to each other, like, I don't think the result would be like, oh, Katie's like really strong with both of us. That's like rough on Katie. I think they both walk away from that being like, oh, that other guy's an idiot. He thinks Katie's actually looking out for her when she's actually looking out for me.
Wasn't it Andrew and Tony who were like, oh, like they're all in the same friend group as Katie, but they are convinced that either of them are closer to Katie than the other one is?
Yeah,
Yes.
so Tony and Katie are like childhood friends, and now
Right.
Katie and Andrew are close on their tribe. And
Okay.
I don't think Andrew and Katie had a pre-existing relationship.
They
And
did.
Tony
They were
Andrew
in
was-
the same sort of like honors group.
Okay.
Or it's a program. Whatever. They were both not in it by the time the season started, but they knew each other through that.
But they are definitely, Tony and Andrew definitely both seem closer to Katie than they do to one another.
Yeah.
And they're roommates.
I could just see that particular pair being the one to come together and realize, but then again, maybe they are just so in her pocket that they just don't want to. I don't know.
Her
it's
mist
wild.
is so strong, and I
It's
think it would
wild
take
to me.
something huge to dilute it, honestly.
Yeah. I want Tony to have to pick between JS and Katie on.
I mean, he would pick Katie.
I mean, yeah.
You say you want JS out.
I know. I want the drama there.
I do, yeah. I do want to see a little more JS and Katie head to head.
Yeah. I really want to see that.
I will say I also really appreciated during one of the challenges seeing Katie get so heated. I was like, oh, okay.
Andrew, Katie, and Tony on vacation.
Oh yeah, next episode takes place. Spring break happens before the next challenge. So
Mutiny?
Well, if
is this-
you stop to watch each of those clips, one of them is Tony, Katie, and Andrew on a beach together.
Yeah,
That
I'm
is
not
their
gonna lie, I
spring
did
break,
not
right?
do my
Oh my
detective work.
gosh.
Yeah.
Spring break.
All I'm saying is I definitely also had a friend that I went on spring break with, and we told each other we weren't going to vote each other out before spring break, but things can happen.
Ooh.
It's okay, it already aired. If y'all missed it, go watch season 6.
Well, look, sometimes sometimes you make a big plan so both of you are safe, and the plan involves voting for each other, which is such a good plan, by the way.
Oh no, I know. To be fair, I was nowhere near in the same position as this Katie.
No, you're Katie, and they're Tony and Andrew.
Yeah.
Let's talk. Okay, so who do we think is mutinying? Obviously, Eric.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Who has the other mutiny?
Dylan.
Oh.
Yeah, and he's not playing it, clearly. He feels
Yeah.
like he's a god of Sababa.
I mean, he's
Maybe
safe.
would it?
I mean, if one, I feel like it's so true, Eric. if one of McQuad moves, they all move. My worry is that Sam just stands there.
Wait, can more than one
I mean,
person?
I wonder if Fish tries to switch.
Oh wait, is this a mutiny where everyone else can mutiny as well?
So the rules of the mutiny are basically it's open to everyone. For
Oh.
10 seconds, anyone can step forward.
I was trying to understand why Eric and Mike kept saying like, "Oh, we're both safe" the whole time. I thought it would just be Eric leaving Mike alone.
No. The mutiny is like it. That's why it's sort of kept around.
Oh, that
because
makes this even worse. Now I'm fully on board, on track with everything that's been said. I just thought Eric wanted to stay with Mike, and I was like, "That's so cute."
You thought it was a one-person
Yes.
other team.
Not even
Girl.
just half of this call being like, what is everyone?
That's why I didn't
talking
understand like the
about?
tribe swaps and anything. Wow. Okay.
No, girl. Yeah, when you play a tribe swap, only you get the swap.
No, I understand the tribe swap one. The mutiny confused me.
Now I could see. I don't know, because I wonder if people, because you said it's only 10 seconds, if people are gonna wait to see, like, oh, if I step forward, who's gonna be on my new tribe then. But like, if it's a similar situation as Eric knows he's on the bottom of Majesta, and Fish now feels like he's on the bottom of his tribe, like maybe they just do a little swap. I don't know if Michaela would go, or if she tries to get back in with like the girls thing.
I'm just imagining Fish is the only one who leaves Sababa, and it's like he looks for Michaela, and she just goes,
No.
Yeah.
Dylan's over here, so.
So
I hope
true.
JS swaps just for the drama.
So here's my
Oh my
thought.
God.
I feel like it is a big, like, if this person swaps, then this person will
Yeah.
also swap. Like, I feel like there's a lot of, like, yeah, let's say Eric steps forward, all of fucking McQuad steps forward. Sam's probably like, I guess I'll step forward too, because you're all doing it. And then their whole tribe is coming over. Then I feel like all of Sababa is going to be like, fuck, okay, I don't want these bitches over here. So they're going to step forward. Or even if just JS steps forward. If I'm Katie, I'm like, I don't want to be with that fucking guy. So I'm
I
going
was
to step
just about
forward
to
so
say-
he's not coming over to my tribe.
Maybe after this tribal, Miranda steps forward if JS doesn't, and she's like, I need to get out of here, kind of thing. I don't know if McQuad would stay together after this past tribal. Like, obviously they voted together, but the tensions.
Don't get Erin too excited.
I'm literally not getting my hopes up because I'm just so because there's been tension. This whole fucking time there's been tension. And they're not doing anything about it. Exactly, Polly. Exactly.
So mutiny might happen next episode. We're gonna get to winner picks and any other predictions, but first, here are the other episode titles. So we got How Far I Can Go, not the Moana song. That's How Far Can I Go?
How far I'll go.
How Far I'll Go. I've only seen that movie once, so I'm so sorry. Eric, let us know in the chat, how big of a Moana fan are you? So the first one is Let's Play Bingo, which I believe was Jazz talking about who to target. Maybe I'm wrong. I wrote these down a while ago, so impossible to remember who said what. Play With My Head was a Jack quote talking about, you know what, Eric's trying to guilt me and I've just got to play with my head. I wish I had some peace. Also an Eric quote.
That's real.
And then another Eric quote, You're the pendulum.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's a solid one.
That was a great one. Oh my God, Eric ate that tribal up. I loved every second of it. He left no crumbs. I was here. He was.
Like a mother countess, Eric.
So we know who Erin's winner picks are, Andrew and Dylan.
I never said Dylan.
Who's your Doug?
Yes.
It was Faith.
I'm so sorry.
I'm a big fan of Faith too, man. Keep in mind, this is my first time watching like a lot of these Maryland people play, and Faith gone too soon.
And this we agree. Look, sometimes you got to kill off the characters you love to show that there's a threat, and Faith was that.
Yes. I don't have winner picks. I have winner pick. It has been.
It was always It was always Andrew. Well, how do you feel about Andrew this episode?
I think he did fine. I mean, there wasn't a ton of Andrew content going on, but I think what he had was good. I think I respect that he tried to damage control Fish by like sending a paragraph and recognized that the reaction was not what he was hoping for. But yeah, I continue to think that Andrew's in a very good spot because again, I feel like the best spot to be at this very moment and at any moment is tucked right under Katie's wing because you know she's always going to be taken out before you and you have pretty much like you have all of the information that she's telling you. So like his line yes, exactly. But his line last episode of saying like Katie is somebody who's very valuable to me and I think I am very valuable to Katie as well, I think is exactly how it is. So I think he's in a great spot.
Great. Katie, who do you think is winning this game?
Oh, geez. So I want to say my namesake Katie, but I think we've talked a lot about how she's already won. And I think there's something to be said that if a winner's at the end, yes, they could say, I've made it to the end again. Why did anyone let me get here? But I think there's also something to be said for anyone who's at the end with her could also just be like, well, we brought her because she's already won. That's obviously like, why would jury vote for her? So I'm going to play it safe and not say Katie. I think Andrew is a strong choice. I think Tony could come up and surprise. He's like very under the radar and similar position. I think just to contrast Erin, I'm going to say Tony. They're in similar positions in terms of being under Katie's wing. And I think Tony being in with other Majesta people and kind of already having a shield with JS and McQuad. I think he's
And
got
Sam.
some more like wiggle room, some more people that he could throw under the bus a little bit if he wanted to. I don't know.
Okay, so we've got Andrew, we've got Katie. Ethan, who do you think is gonna? I'm sorry, we've got Andrew, we've got Tony. Not Katie, very specifically. Ethan, who do you think is gonna win?
I know, I'm like in the same boat where I'm like, this is Katie's On's game, and it depends so much on her right now. But I'm gonna go with like my day one winner pick, which is kind of Jack. Even though she can't lie for shit, like I do think she's very socially well integrated. I think she's good at making connections with people and kind of sticking to those alliances. But yeah, I want to support her. If not, I was gonna say Tony as well. But unless Katie undoes his whole game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the winner picks here. Is there anything from this episode we didn't touch on? I know there's one moment that was said earlier that is so funny. It's the Michaela and Fish moment where Fish can't find his phone.
Classic. So classic.
We've all been there.
No, but also the way that I was sitting there watching that and being like, oh my God, where would his phone be? Like I fell for it.
I got the bit immediately. I was like, we're watching it.
I don't know if you noticed, Michaela looks fully in the camera, like fixes her hair, and it still doesn't realize that's where Fish's phone is.
So funny.
My
favorite is that like that's the content that they get.
It was funny. What more do you need from them, huh?
No, exactly.
Sorry, you're getting a Michaela confessional.
No, give me all of them.
Sam's outfit at the challenge, like her blue puffered like outfit, and then her blue mask. Like she was so incognito.
Anders, can I ask how many of these new players were like already involved or pretty connected with the club at the time?
So unlike Michigan, you little freaks, where people are like involved before they play, Maryland is nearly just me and then a couple people who come to help out, like Swale from season 6, Josh from season 7, and a few other Santi from season 7. Mostly it's me and then whoever I can grab. Drew, who becomes host later. So none of these people played before. Andrew and Tony both knew Katie, and that's why they applied. JS knew Austin, and so with me
and
it was
Mike.
like, sure.
Who's
and
Austin?
Mike, but that's not why he would apply.
And Jess and Dylan are friends.
Jess, Jess lived with Micah and Josh, who both played before, and then she applied season 7, didn't want to do it, and then it was like, please do season 8. But for the most part, these are fucking strangers. These people have never played Survivor, had any communication with it. They're just doing it. Yeah, Michael also helps out sometimes.
Yeah, we saw Meisner tackle him.
Famously, a great clip, a great moment. But yeah, for the most part, we don't really have that. No, I didn't. Now they do. Now they have a whole.
No, I get it. It felt like just from the first couple episodes, it already felt like there was so much interconnection in terms of between the returnees and the newbies that I wondered how much there was like, oh, this returnee's playing again. They brought in some of their friends to play as newbies.
No, it's kind of insane. Like Jess going to the same high school as Dylan. That just is crazy, and it happens. Like JS and Mike going on the same trip. That just happened. Like it's like Maryland's a huge campus, but sometimes a similar friend group or a certain type of person is going to try Survivor. So it's like they should all know each other, but also like for Jack and Sam. Hey, you get it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Also, for people who are like, why is Micah was a freshman when he played season 4. Season 8 happens literally 4 semesters later. Like,
wait, what year was this filmed? Because
2017.
Oh, okay, wild. Just absolutely wild. I think Erin told me that before, and I was like, that checks out with the fashion. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that's
the infinity
out.
scarves. I will
So
say,
many
like,
infinity scarves.
I will say, like, people know of each other possibly because maybe they watched the previous season or because they're in the same club or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
JS knew those people, but they don't all like know each other. If that makes sense.
For sure. Right.
Okay, Ethan, you're literally in here. You couldn't just say it
He's
aloud.
in the chat.
You're literally in this, and you're posting in the chat.
Ethan said, "I hope they put me on the screen."
Any other favorite moments of the episode that we didn't cover?
We covered all mine.
No egg puns. No one cared.
I loved all the eggs.
I
can't. Bad they were going to waste.
I actually did really enjoy the egg puns.
What I love is Fish and Jess fully doing the egg puns, and Katie not getting it. Like, Fish goes, "This should go over easy," and Katie goes like, "Yeah, it should." And it's like, because Katie's like actually trying to go over strategy, and Jess and Fish are just like, let's not crack under the pressure. I'm glad I went to the gym, so I'm yoked. And Katie's just like, "What are you talking about?"
Oh my god.
Also, this might not surprise you to hear. This challenge was the shortest challenge I've ever done, and looking back, I should have made it like 8 eggs. They were right when they said, "Why is it 34 normally?" And for this, it was 3. But in my mind, I went, "They're gonna do that."
I was honestly surprised that there wasn't more, like, when you had to throw and hit the tree. That maybe I wasn't paying attention to how far away the tree was, and it was closer. But I just feel like that people wouldn't hit them on the first throw all the time.
I also didn't look, when you plan a challenge, sometimes you don't think everything's going to work perfectly. In fact, when I'm the one testing every part of it, I have to go, it's probably going to be harder than I think. If I could go back and change it, I'd make it so much harder.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
I bought so many eggs for it too. And I put one game changer in an egg carton, and JS Mastermind knew it would be there.
How? He was like, "What if you tried opening the egg carton that you have to open?"
And he was right.
Katie, I didn't know I was such a game bot. Love it.
Literally not.
I will just say, I want it on record in case it hasn't been clear. I am a JS stan, regardless of his shenanigans and his aggressive gameplay. I'm a fan.
Yeah. Me too.
So say
I'm
we
a fan
all.
of everyone, honestly.
Not all of us. Don't put
So
that word
say
in my
we
mouth.
all.
Don't put that in my mouth.
I'll say for both Erin and myself,
No.
we support JS in everything he does. And if we could, we wish you could do more of it.
No.
Erin told me privately she wishes there were 100 more JS confessionals in each episode.
The fact that I was a little sad that Mike got voted out, I think should speak volumes.
All right. Let's plug whatever you need to plug. Ethan, anything you want to plug?
No, I hope. Aw. Thanks, JS. Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram.
Ethan, there's nothing you want to plug? No series currently
right
coming
now,
out?
maybe?
Oh yes, Scotty Survivor season 3 is out and releasing every week.
Texting Shane right now.
I said,
for Troy.
Yeah, Scotty Survivor.
Troy Train, baby.
Pirate
Troy
Plunge.
Train.
Pirates Plunge.
Yes.
What was the pirate thing this episode? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. Katie, anything you want to plug?
Well, season 6 of Survivor Michigan did just finish airing a couple weeks ago, but if you have not checked that out, definitely do. Your girl finally got to play before graduating, and yeah, if y'all want to follow me on Instagram, my account's public. I love new friends. I don't know. You can find it on the Survivor Maryland Instagram story, I think. Or I'm tagged somewhere. I don't know.
You are, I think. I mean, I'm not the one tagging you, so you should be. Erin, what about you? Anything that you want to say?
The reason that I'm here is unjustified hate, and the reason I continue to be here is unjustified hate. So you're welcome. They plugged the things that I usually plug. So I'm just gonna say this was a great season of The Bachelor. You should absolutely watch. Best season we've had in a while. Finale was tonight. Definitely
I
go
can't
watch
believe
that.
you're plugging an
Joey was
ABC show.
fantastic. So hot, so gorgeous, made such great decisions. Beautiful man. That's my
Okay, yeah, if you guys haven't heard of the indie gem, The Bachelor on ABC, it's kind of new. It's probably
And
hard.
Joey, because I know you're watching. If it doesn't work out with your pick from this evening, I am available.
Oh, girl.
Jesus,
Oh,
that's
girl.
so sad. Not for you,
girl.
more just the institution of it. And for me, I'm gonna plug. Watch this show. Watch more of it. Show it to your friends. Go back and watch the first episode again. There may be seeds that are just growing over time. And if you haven't, follow us on Twitter at UMD Survivor. That's UMD Survivor. On Instagram at survivor.maryland. And then on Facebook at Survivor Maryland. We're very different in all these ways. But catch us next week where we have episode 7. It may be about a mutiny. Hard to say, really. And
What's that?
We may even have a special guest on it from the episode. Maybe if I say this out loud, maybe I'll guilt them into doing it. Anyways, thank you so much, Katie and Ethan and Erin, for joining me today. What an episode. And just remember, if you're not offering ultimatums to your friends, are you really their friend? Because if they don't
So
get what you
true.
want, you don't have to be.
No,
All right.
not offering an ultimatum, offering an option.
Bullying?
No. Controlling? No.
All right. Goodbye. Bye.